All right, a new Associated Press poll finds faith in America's banking system has hit a low in the wake of recent bank failures. Only 10% of U.S. adults say they have high confidence in the nation's financial institutions. Joining us now, former Labor Secretary Robert Reich. He's professor of public policy at the University of California at Berkeley, and it's good to have you back on the show. Can you explain what you think or what you make of these recent bank failures? Is it an indication of a larger problem?
Mika, it's impossible to tell. That's the problem itself. Banking depends upon confidence. People have to know and feel that the banking system is sound. And when you have a bunch of bank failures or near failures, when you have uncertainty as to whether depositors are even going to be insured at certain banks and smaller banks, when you have, the crypto meltdown that we have had, FTX, I mean, all of these and Credit Suisse, all of these unsettle investors, they worry people who are depositors. They mean that more and more money is moving to the very big banks that are too big to fail. But it all is nerve-wracking. And I think that the economy already, when interest rates are going up, is sort of on tenterhooks in terms of the future.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, after 2008, I would go around, I'd go to events, I'd talk to businesses, I'd say, how's your business doing? And everybody said, oh, it's terrible, it's awful. This went on for about a year, and everybody was talking about how horrible it was. And one night, I found myself at a table of bankers, and instead of asking how they were doing, I said, well, God, I know this has been a tough year for you guys. They started laughing at me. They said, what are you talking about? It's been like the best year of our lives. And I'm still naive. I'm still naive. We live in a country that socializes losses, tells single moms to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but we privatize gains. Have we learned nothing from 2008?
Joe, not only do we socialize the losses of the people at the top and impose the most cruel form of capitalism on most other people relative to most other nations, most other rich nations. But also banking is no longer boring. I mean, banking, I'm old enough to remember a time in the 1950s, 1960s, when banking was boring because there wasn't very much money to be made in banking. Now banking is exciting. And after 2008, one of the goals should have been, we put in place the Dodd-Frank law, we put in place stricter regulations. A lot of bankers, regulators in Washington said, well, now no longer is banking going to be exciting. The big profits are no longer going to be in banking. But the fact of the matter is, banking is now about 35 to 40% of the entire economy, whereas 40 years ago, it was 15% of the entire economy. Banking is exciting, and as long as it's exciting, it's dangerous.
Mr. Secretary, these bank failures, of course, have put renewed scrutiny on some of the decisions by the Fed and interest rate hikes that they, of course, have done in an effort to combat inflation. We've been sort of getting mixed signals throughout the economy as to what the right course should be. What is your opinion as what would be the right approach trying to balance this going forward?
Well, it's very, very difficult to know, obviously, because we don't know the future. But I think that the Fed should stop raising interest rates. It raised a quarter of a point interest rates on Wednesday. I don't need it. I don't think it needed to do that. I mean, we've had 8 interest rate increases over the past year, the fastest rate of interest rate increases we have seen since the 1980s. There's a lag time. When you raise interest rates, you don't know exactly what you're going to do to the economy for another 3 to 6 or 8 months. So every time you raise interest rates, you're making a guess about what you're doing to the future. I would say, why not pause? Let's just stop. There's so much uncertainty in the economy right now. There's so much fear. And the waves are getting larger and larger. Let's just wait and see what's happening. I do worry about the possibility of a recession.
All right.
Former Labor Secretary Robert Reich. That's kind of a down note to end on, but many.
Well, I'm sorry. Let's end it up. No, I worry about a recession, but
Happy
over the long term,
Friday.
everything will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Friday. Well, Mr. Secretary, as always, we greatly appreciate you being on the show.
Very honored to
Thank
have you.